Hi, I'm Teri Lott. I'm a storyteller, a puppeteer, and an indie author from southeastern Ohio. Let me just take a few seconds to share with you the books I've written, and then we'll have a story. So, do you like animals? Then you'll love lots of animal tales. All kinds of animals in there, wild ones, farm animals, pets, you name it. Do you like fairy tales? This is my newest book, Beyond Happily Ever After. Choose your own fairy tale ending. And you get to choose whether a character in the story has a pleasant ending or a just desserts ending. Now, I bet you've heard stories about Jack. Probably the most famous one is Jack and the Beanstalk. But a lot of people don't know he has a twin sister, 13 minutes younger. Her name is Jackie. And so we have Jackie Tales, the untold stories of Jack's sister. Now, if you know somebody with a growing family, then you're going to want lots of tales, stories that grow with your children. It starts out with stories for toddlers, including some finger plays and songs, moves to stories for preschoolers, and then stories that readers can read to their family or read to themselves. It actually grows with the child. And then there's the sequel, Lots of Tales 2, seasonal stories that grow with your children. Not quite so many delineations, preschool and readers, but by season. So those are currently my books that I've written. And if you want more information, you can contact me at lotts.of.tales@gmail.com. My books are all available on Amazon. And if you live in the Ohio area, they're at Ohio Art Market in Westerville, Ohio. A couple of titles, the Jackie Tales and the Beyond Happily Ever After, are at Gramercy Books in Bexley, Ohio. And a few of my earlier ones, the Lots of Tales, are at Kix Mix Bookstore in Newark. So that's my little commercial about me, Teri Lott. Now, let's start a story. Now, as in my books, some of my stories are original, meaning that I wrote them, and some are reimagined tales, tales that have been around for a long time, and I tell my version. Well, I was kind of inspired for this story a little bit by the nursery rhyme, There Wasn't a Woman Who Lived in a Shoe, but you'll see it's a bit different. And I call this There Was an Old Lady. There was an old lady who lived in a house that was blue. But she didn't know what to do. You see, all over her house were mice. Yes, I said mice. Squeak, 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 squeak. There were mice of every color, shape, and size. They were everywhere. She couldn't even walk through her house without stepping on a mouse's tail. Squeak! But she wasn't sure what to do. What do you think she should do? Well, she thought about it. She was fairly clever, and she realized that what she needed to do was bring in another animal that would get rid of the mice. I bet you know what that animal is, right? Well, she brought in some cats. Meow. She brought in black cats and white cats, cats of all sizes and ages. She brought in tiger cats. You name it, she had them. And those cats, meow, meow, they chased away all of the mice. Yay! And for the rest of the day, things were just okay. But then, the old lady in the house that was blue realized she had another problem, because now she had too many cats. They were everywhere. And cats like to climb, as you might know. They were on top of her refrigerator. They were on top of her countertop, on top of her furniture, and she didn't know what to do. What do you think she should do? Well, as I said, she was pretty clever, and so she gave it some thought. And she realized that what she needed now were lots and lots of dogs. She brought in black dogs and white dogs and brown dogs and spotted dogs. And sure enough, those dogs started chasing the cats. And those cats, they all ran away. And for the rest of the day, things were okay. But then, the old lady in the house that was blue realized she had too many dogs and she wasn't sure what to do. There were dogs in her bed. There were dogs on her couch. There were dogs on her chairs. There were dogs on the table, under the table. They were everywhere. What do you think she should do? Well, as I said, she was pretty clever and she gave it some thought. And I think she had to do a little research too. Maybe she used the internet or something like that. And she realized that what she needed to do was bring in some animals from the zoo, animals that dogs do not like. She brought in tigers and she brought in lions. Roar, roar, roar. And those tigers and lions, they scared those dogs away. And for the rest of the day, things were okay. But the old lady who lived in the house that was blue began to get a bit worried because tigers and lions might scratch her. Tigers and lions might try to bite her, and there were so many of them. She wasn't sure what to do. What do you think she should do? Well, she gave it some thought and probably did research again, and she discovered that there is an animal that tigers and lions are afraid of. They're big animals. They're usually light brown or gray, and they're heavy when they step. Do you know what she brought in? It was elephants. Can you make an elephant sound with me? You probably do it better than I do. Well, the elephants came stomping in and they scared the tigers and lions away. And so for the rest of the day, things were okay. But have you ever tried to have lots of elephants in your house? Oh, they were so big. The old lady in the house that was blue could hardly move around her own house. She would be walking sideways and saying, "Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, pardon me, coming through." She wasn't sure what to do. So she gave it some thought and probably did some research. And she discovered there are a couple of things that elephants fear. And one of them is right here. Bees. Specifically, she got honeybees. Bzzz. And those bees chased those elephants away. And for the rest of the day, things were okay. But now I know what you're thinking. Bees in the house? Well, the old lady who lived in the house that was blue, she had a plan for that, let me tell you. You see, she loved honey. And so she had hives built outside her home. The bees went out there. Bzzz. They liked it better outside where they could roam. And soon they were making honey for her. And because they made so much honey, more than she could ever eat. She also sold some of the honey and made some money. And so now the lady in the house that is blue is living happily ever after. And that's the end of my story. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. As I said, that's one that I wrote myself, and it will probably make its appearance in a sequel to Lots of Animal Tales, which I'm right now thinking I'm going to call More Animal Tales, or maybe even Lots of Animal Tales 2. I'm not quite sure yet. So if you need to reach out to me for any reason, asking me about my stories, asking me what storytellers do, asking me about my puppets or my books, again, you can contact me at lotts.of.tales@gmail.com. And be sure to tell everyone that you saw me on this YouTube channel so that they can watch my stories too. I'm Teri Lott. Thanks so much for giving a listen.